Developing now, the House Committee on Government Reform holding a hearing on the report on that botched gun trafficking case known as Fast and Furious. It's a 471-page report that's a scathing criticism of dysfunctional ATF agents and prosecutors in Arizona, but it also absolves Attorney General Eric Holder, who many Republicans tried to blame for the scandal. Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California and Republican Congressman Patrick Meehan of Pennsylvania. Gentlemen, good to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to be with you.
Congressman Meehan, let me start with you because you voted for a contempt citation against Eric Holder, and at the time you said there was, quote, a systematic effort to deflect attention away from the decision and determinations that were made at the highest levels of the Department of Justice. What would you say to Attorney General Holder, who, since this report came out, criticized, again I'm quoting, those who were so quick to make baseless accusations?
Well, my accusations went to the highest levels of the Department of Justice, not Eric Holder in specific, but the point of the matter remains the same, and the information in this report confirms the same, that there was clear information that was available to those who have to make decisions at the highest levels of the Department of Justice. There were discussion not only of gun running, but the implications on a past case and the failure to ask the appropriate questions on this particular case as well that went to the highest levels of the criminal division and a specific identification in the report itself about the failure of these individuals to report to Attorney General Holder. And the real question that I have as a result of that is, what kind of expectations does the Attorney General have on the people who are reporting to him and have a responsibility to make sure that he's not left unaware of what's going on in his department?
Congressman Schiff, the report is a critique of Eric Holder's sort of inner circle. Does the buck stop at the top?
Well, the buck always stops at the top, and the Attorney General has taken responsibility, but we shouldn't overlook the fact that really the whole Republican theory, their whole investigative theory, that the Attorney General authorized this, that he knew about this, that this was some conspiracy to accelerate gun violence in Mexico, to justify gun control at home, all of that has been completely debunked by the Inspector General in a very thorough and impartial investigation. So we shouldn't lose sight of that, but the Attorney General has taken steps. Two of the top people that were implicated in the report have already left. The former acting head of the ATF is gone. The former assistant deputy AG is gone. And more than a dozen others have been referred for disciplinary proceedings. And most important, the Attorney General, not just after the report, but months ago, many months ago, took steps to make sure that this kind of policy was never allowed at the local level. And that was ultimately the IG's conclusion, which was this was a locally driven and flawed tactic.
In fact, Congressman Meehan, among others, Darrell Issa said that Eric Holder didn't take appropriate action for a year and a half. This report concludes he did move swiftly to stop the tactics once he learned of them. There was so much criticism of the Attorney General. Is he owed an apology?
Well, the situation that I look at when you talk with respect to those tactics is the recognition that the top leadership became aware of these tactics during the course of an investigation from a previous effort that was done, and not only failed to hold those accountable for those tactics, but encouraged the people in that area. They sent prosecutors from Washington down to try to see if they could resurrect the very case in which they identified gun walking as being part of it. So in my mind, this is the kind of message that comes from Main Justice, which says, ATF, go ahead. I mean, I am surprised at the inability to have dealt with this issue when they first became aware. There was no prosecutions done by the time that this matter had come to the new administration. The new administration reviewed this. Lanny Breuer traveled down to New Mexico. The Attorney General and the Department of Homeland Security Secretary went to Mexico and talked about the importance of these kinds of prosecutions. But in the zeal to try to make a prosecution, rather than taking the ATF to account for these tactics, they encouraged them further by moving forward with the prosecution.
As you said, Congressman Schiff, the investigators characterized this gun-walking operation as one driven by field agents. They did single out 17 officials. 2 have already assigned. The others have been reassigned. But to your colleague's point, does more need to be done, and should more have been done?
Well, I think the Attorney General took all the steps that should prudently be taken, which was immediately change the policy of the department, make sure that things are vetted more carefully, that any tactic like this is disallowed in the future, and that's clear and communicated through the department. All those things have been done. We also ought to hold people accountable, and the Attorney General has done that. And in fact, each of those people criticized in the report are being referred to for disciplinary proceedings or have already been admonished by the Attorney General. So I think the Attorney General has taken the steps he should. And frankly, I think the chairman ought to apologize to the Attorney General for hurling these unwarranted, unsubstantiated, and now completely debunked allegations for more than a year at the top law enforcement official of the nation.
Congressman Adam Schiff, Congressman Patrick Meehan, gentlemen, thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.